Ladies and gentlemen, Seagull 40. Well, hello and welcome to the channel, and thank you to all my new subscribers. It's very much appreciated. So in this episode, I am really excited to share with you the latest acquisition to my growing outboard collection. It's a 1980s British Seagull 40 plus vintage, I guess, you know, some 42 years old now. I don't know anything about Seagull outboards. It's all new ground to me. So I'm going to really look forward to digging into this one. Now, I don't know if it runs or not. I literally picked it up from auction, sold as seen. It's got compression, so that's, you know, obviously a good start. But other than that, I don't really know very much about it. So I'm going to bring you in a bit closer and let's have a bit of a dig in here and see what I've got. Okay then, my little cherubs, let's have a look and see what we have. So as I say, it's, well, listed there, British Seagull 40, and I've already looked up the serial number in there, so that's how I know that it's definitely a 40 plus and it was made in 1980. I'm quite surprised actually, so I don't know anything about these outboards and British Seagulls and that, but you know, I do remember seeing some of them on some very old boats, and I'm surprised they still made them in the 80s like this, but apparently I think they made it right up to the 90s. So anyway, they claim to be about sort of 2 to 3 brake horsepower, and they're not. I understand that it's probably actually more likely barely 1 horsepower. But that said, they don't spin very fast, and so because they have quite a large propeller on here, it actually displaces quite a bit of water, so they're more of a sort of good strong pusher rather than a high performance. Okay, moving back up to the top here, we have the original fuel tank with the original graphics. Quite worn out. I don't like to scrub things like that off when doing things up and get rid of it. I like to keep the original, so I'm going to work something out where I can hopefully ideally leave that. Now the inside of the tank is rusted out. I've already had a look in there and it's just full of rust, so I'm going to have to clean it out and treat that before I use it. Hopefully I don't really want to have to replace the fuel tank. I want to keep the original there. So in the meantime, I'm probably just going to bypass this tank, use a separate tank just to get the fuel in, so I know it's clean, good quality fuel, no rust and that. But as you can see, the fuel inlet into the carburetor here is hanging down. There is actually under there is where it would have connected, and I guess there's a valve or something missing, but I'll look into that and get that sorted. It's no big deal. So I have here nice cover there for the choke, and that's all working as it should do. Carburetor probably needs a good clean out. A few bits of rust around. Still got the throttle. That's all connected. I believe it's still working, so that's good. Got a pull start. Now, I don't know whether this came factory fitted as a pull start or whether this has been added on, because it's listed online as being electric start. But again, I don't know anything about Seagull engines. If you know anything about it, please do let me know in the comments. Give me all the information you know, all the tips and that. Any advice about getting this restored and running would be greatly received. Really would appreciate it. So anyway, we've got a pull start on there. I've pulled that, I've used it, we've got compression. So that's absolutely brilliant. And then getting round to the other side here, I've got a gear lever, and it's great the way that these gears are all exposed on the outside, so you can see exactly where they go and what's going on. There's no tubes to clean out or anything. Again, this just needs a bit of a clean up, and it does work. It's quite stiff. You sometimes need 2 hands to release this, so I'm going to have to be quite sympathetic and careful, but that definitely needs a clean up. And getting down the bottom here, it's the clutch engaging, disengaging works absolutely fine as well. So again, spark plug, that's there. Don't know the condition of that, haven't pulled it off, so I know absolutely nothing. But overall, it's not bad condition for 42 years. I'm pretty certain there's plenty of life left in here. Not sure what these holes are. If you know, let me know. I don't know if something was supposed to be attached on there or not, but again, I can look into that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start digging in, cleaning up, and basically just see, you know, how close we are to getting this outboard started. So that was a brief look at my Seagull 40 Plus. So I'm going to get on, give it a good clean, get a little bit of a service, and hopefully we're going to get this old classic running. Okay, well, welcome back. I've been busy the last couple of minutes working through this engine. So a lot of the areas I've, like up here and around the carburetor and up and down, I've just basically put some penetrating oil just as a temporary measure, just to get things freed up. Obviously long term I'll grease them up and do it all properly. But for now, it's not too bad. The throttle's eased up a little bit more. And interestingly, getting into the carburetor was actually quite difficult. I think most of this might be plastic or some kind of, you know, softer material. So I wanted to be careful. I didn't want to snap or strip the thread or anything. But anyway, I've gotten in there, a little bit dirty. So I'm going to give that a clean. And as you can see here, it's not horrendous, not by any means, but I don't think it would do any harm just to give that a good clean. So onto the spark plug. Is quite interesting. It popped out quite easily. It's pretty disgusting. It's not a colour that I would worry about, and there would be oil on there obviously because there's additives, so they do get a bit coked up. But you know, I don't know a huge amount about spark plugs. If you know about that, then please do let me know in the comments. But it does seem, I don't know if you can see in there, it's a bit difficult with the lighting on that. But yeah, I guess it's just an old coked up motor there, but nothing that really panics me, certainly. But again, I don't really know much about all this. I'm an absolute newbie and it's all a learning curve. So what I'm going to do is give this spark plug a good clean as best as I can, give the carburetor a good clean out, and then get to work on sorting something out with this fuel line. Now here's a quick interesting thing I've just discovered. Bearing in mind that I don't know much about outboards and certainly classic machinery and that, I'm sure many of you have probably come across this before, but I'm used to having spark plugs where you just push fit the HT lead onto the end there, whereas this one, quite interesting, but fairly simple, is inside the cap there. We have this metal contact, which connects over the end there, obviously inside the cap, and the cap will be over there, so all clips on like that. And then we have this screw thread here, which locks the whole lot together. So bearing that in mind, I need to clean the end of the spark plug here and clean the metal contact and make sure there's a really good connection between the two of them in order to eliminate any issues with the spark plugging not sparking or the engine not starting. So I'm going to get on and give these a good clean. Well, I've removed the carburetor, gave it a bit of a clean on that. I don't know if you can see here, bit of a discovery. But there's insulation tape all around the bottom, around the bowl. It's a bit concerning that, not quite sure why that's on there. I don't really want to take it off. I got the idea there might well be cracked or something. Well, I'll push on as it is because I just really want to get it started, but I obviously don't want a fire on my hands. And well, I just cross my fingers that that's not too far gone. So I've given the carburetor a good clean out. Not too happy about this tape around it, but I mean, what can I do at the moment? Just got to keep an eye on it and make sure it's not leaking fuel everywhere. The throttle, I've greased that up. That's all good, nice and loose. And as you saw, spark plug, that's all been sorted out. I gave the spark plug a good clean on the end with a wire brush there. And it's just as well, actually, because there was quite a bit of corrosion on there. But that's all nice and shiny and clean. So we're getting closer and closer to giving this a go at getting it started. Now, the real sticking point is this fuel tank. It's rusted out in there. It's pretty disgusting. Now, I wanted to take it off and give it a good swell out with cleaner and fuel and that. But this is not going to happen because these bolts are well and truly seized on, and I don't want to force and break anything at this stage. So I do have a solution and a bit of a confession. Stay there. I have another Seagull. It's a smaller one, just as heavy. So I'm going to pinch bits off of this one, stick it on this one, and get this thing going. Oh, God. So I've been flushing out this tank for the last sort of half an hour, basically just putting the fuel in the top there and letting it flush out the bottom there into a jug. I'm just putting it over and over again just to get all the crud out. And well, as you can see, it's pretty nasty in that tank. I'm oh, I don't know. I mean, I've flushed out lots of stuff, just really not sure about using it. I'm sure if any of that gets into the carburetor and the engine, where it's just going to cut out, it's just not going to run properly. I will see. I'll keep flushing it. If it gets to the point where there's absolutely nothing more coming out, then I might risk it for a biscuit. Well, the outboards stink of fuel, the floor stinks, everything stinks, even I stink of fuel. But I've got to flush it out, which is the main thing, and that's the second rag that I filled up with horrible, I suppose, rust that's coming out the inside and all sorts. But anyway, I flushed it out. I'm not 100% happy with it, but it's a lot better than it was, and I think it would be good enough to go just to see if we can get this outboard started. So I took the valve here off of the older Seagull and it fitted nicely in there. It doesn't quite come all the way around, but that's absolutely fine. I can still access it. So it's all connected up now, and well, I think we're ready to probably give it a start. So well, what have we got to lose? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that time has come. See if we can get this thing started. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? I mean, it's been all of about 2 hours. It's not much for us, but it's if you're a fly. I mean, a fly only lives a few days, so it's quite a long time, 2 hours. So anyway, just to recap, cleaned out the fuel tank, put a new valve on there, cleaned out the carburetor with the dodgy tape still on it, cleaned up the throttle. I think that's pretty much it. So, as I said before, I've no idea how these things work. I think there's a primer there, and I think this cap's got to come off here. So, I'm going to see what I can do. So, just come along for the ride, and let's see if I can get this thing started then. So, and get the cap off of there to let the air in. I assume, open up the carburetor there, open up the valve. Right, I need to let the fuel in and also open up the airlock there. So I don't really know what else other than to give it a couple of pulls. I don't think it's going to start straight off. I think I'm going to need quite a few goes on it, but let's give it a go. Oops. Oh, it's not a nice sound. Oh. Oh, don't know if a bit of throttle maybe. It's out of gear. Oh, bloody hell! Oh, Jesus! Right. Oh! Oh! Oh, yeah! Oh! Oh, the gear. Bloody hell. Yes! Just in case you haven't worked it out, it actually works. It works. Oh, that's fantastic. Wow, that did not take a lot to get that going at all. And the drive works as well. I shut that down off pretty quick. I mean, the water was just gone out of there. That's a lot of force, that is. Oh my God. Whoa. That did not take a lot. That just goes to prove, doesn't it, really? The old stuff really does last, doesn't it? Well, my God. I'm actually lost for words. I really am. That was absolutely fantastic. But the carb seems to work in that state. Throttle was fine. I didn't even give it full whack, not in here. Exhaust coming out, that was real good. Don't know whether it's got impeller and all that. I didn't even get around to check to see if there was any water coming out of it. But, ah, well, what can I say? What can I say? Well, what I'm going to do is leave that with you and end the video here. If you enjoyed it, please do give me a thumbs up. If you've got any comments, please leave them down below. Any advice, anything you can tell me about these engines, greatly appreciated. And please do consider subscribing to my channel. On the next video, I'm going to clean this thing up, get a few more bits, replace the dodgy bits, and then at some point we're going to take this out in the river. So whatever you're doing, take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for joining.